Welcome back, everybody, to Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Collectors community. I'm your host, Nico, and joined with me today for the first time in the new year is my co-host, Chris. How you doing, man?
Not too bad. Happy 2024.
Yeah, happy 2024, guys, to another year of Comic Shop Talk here. Hope your holidays were good. And yeah, we're here back at it. It has been a couple weeks since we last recorded a new weekly comic book review show. We did take a week off between Christmas and New Year's. So if you guys missed out on the show that we did drop during that period, though, definitely go back and check that one out. That was a really fun one. I really enjoyed myself, Chris. That was our year end kind of like comic shop talk awards show where we kind of highlight some of the best things that we've read this year, guys, and some of the things that we also read that we did not like, things we like, things we did not like. Great discussion there. Honestly, we kind of give out like little awards to a bunch of different books, like different categories and things like that. So yeah, definitely go back and check that out. It's a good overview of what we read throughout the year. You get hit up with some stats. We kind of like an overview of kind of what we liked collectively, both me and Chris, for this past year. And yeah, it always gives you like it's a good place to go to if you're looking for new suggestions for things to check out they may have missed out on, things that we enjoy that you might also like to check out as well, that came out this past year. So definitely go check that out. That's our annual show. We've done 2 of them now, and you can find them in the playlist on the feed here on Late Night Collectors Community. But yeah, we're back at it today. We're going to be talking about 2 weeks of comics. Just because we didn't put out a show doesn't mean that those pull lists weren't picked up and read here. So we're going to be talking about the weeks of December 27th. So that's right. We're going to be talking about the last week of the year because, like I said, that week we didn't come out with a show. We came out with the Comic Shop Talk Awards show. So the new comics that came out for the week of December 27th, and as well as this first new week in the new year, it's January, I think. Is it the 2nd or the 3rd here? 3rd. So January 3rd, we're going to be talking about the week of new comics as well here today. So yeah, so a lot of comics to talk about. So yeah, without further ado, Chris,
All right. Let's talk comics.
talk some
Cheers.
comics. Cheers. All right. And
All
as
right. What
always,
do we start out with?
the amount of sorts here. I forgot to mention. Make sure you're subscribed. Of course, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and a spoiler warning. Be forewarned, okay? All right, here we go. We're going to be talking about and spoiling some of the things that happen in these books. First up, we got the week of December 27th, 2023, though. We're going to be giving you our favorites of the week at the end of each of these segments. So, you don't have to wait all the way to the end of the episode. Let's get this first one out of the way. Let's get this last week out of the year, our favorite of the week here by the end of this discussion out of the way, and then we'll leave the other one for the end of the show, Chris. All right, guys. First up, this weekly event series that we had throughout the month of December. We didn't get to discuss the final issue here, but that was Batman Santa Claus Silent Night, which actually made Chris's awards this year, guys, is something that he missed out on. I think it was his most underrated book because he totally fucking skipped out on buying this one and kind of regretted the decision. What do you think of the finale here, Chris?
Well, I think it was okay. That it didn't disappoint, let's say. It just moved the story along and, it ended up on a good note.
Yeah.
Kind of go back, I read that a while ago, but yeah, the stuff with Damian Wayne in the cage and all that sort of stuff.
Well,
And I think it all worked out.
where he had to pretend he was crying or whatever, like he was
Yeah,
like,
I was trying to trick Krampus or kind of con Krampus into saying that he's a reformed boy and that Krampus sort of got his way where I don't know was there some sort of other spirit that was kind of influencing Krampus there, and I guess the big reunion with Krampus and Saint Nick or Chris Kringle or whatever they call him here.
At my LCS there, the people, I guess, word got around that this was actually good and worth checking out because as the weeks went on, more and more people started coming into the shop to look for this series. And by the end of it, by the 4th issue, there was people that were trying to go back and collect the issues that they had missed. And those last couple of issues, 3 and 4, because by that time people had caught on, I guess, that this was a decent miniseries that was coming out at that time, were all scooped up. Like a lot of people ended up missing out. You weren't alone on that, Chris, because I think some people may have thought this was going to be some corny kind of like money grab of a miniseries. But honestly, guys, if you missed out on this and when the collection comes out, this might be a good Christmas read to pick up for next year or something if you want to read something superhero related book around the holidays, because yeah, this was decent. I think there was good art throughout, good writing, and a nice little mini series. Honestly, it was good. It wasn't just Batman. There was the inclusion of a lot of the other kind of superheroes in the DCU as well, I think, by the end of it. And, ended on a very nice Christmassy note here, as you can see. And to all, a good night, Chris.
That's it. And it's a good timeless story, even if you were to pick up now and just kind of hold on to it and read it next Christmas, it all works out. There's no continuity involved here. It's just, it's good stuff. And I like to say they go to the North Pole or something at the end where Santa Claus can kind of give them all a break where time doesn't move. That was always, just seeing the interactions there when all the heroes are kind of just relaxing is always fun to watch.
Yeah. What'd you give this out of 5?
I give it a 4 out of 5. It's good stuff.
Wow. I'm going to give it a 3.75 out of 5, but honestly, I would probably give the whole mini series a 4 out of 5. It just, I don't think the ending was a 4 for me, but there was a couple of issues in the middle of this mini series that I thought were really good. Actually, the first probably 2 issues, and I thought the ending, while decent, was kind of like what more in line of what I think what I was expecting from this story. You know what I mean? But but good series overall. Definitely a 4 out of 5 series. I'll give it 3.75 on the last issue out of 5. All right. Next up, we got Timeless #1, Chris, which, is always a surprise. Don't really know what to think of these issues that come out that basically give you teases of the year to come from Marvel. Essentially. Oh, what cover?
Here I got an Alex Ross, I think, a wrap around.
Ooh.
That's nice. Not too bad. I think that's I don't know. There's some better covers out there, but I thought that was good at the time, but I even like that A cover now. Once you get to see the story. So in this story here, I guess it's Power Man and Iron Fist seem to be the last people standing. In some, I don't know how far ahead in the future this goes through. And basically, I don't know, Power Man has ended up with the powers of Sentry, Hulk, and a couple other heavy hitters. And Iron Fist, who did he get? He kind of, I guess he soaked up some powers from somebody, or somebody's using him as an avatar or something like that.
Yeah, Khonshu, which is the
the Moon Knight or whatever.
The big reveal there was not only was he basically, I mean, it's weird because if you look at the cover, it looks like this is the Doctor Doom Iron Man suit that he had, so he's kind of rocking that. Yet, he inside of it, it's actually, I guess, or inside of himself, he's got Khonshu that's basically controlling, which is the reveal later on in the issue, and he's kind of like all weird looking and stuff underneath the armor, and Power Man makes a comment about that, but then like I guess the big reveal here, other than the teases of things that come throughout the year, was the fact that in this future setting, like Khonshu is now a Celestial. Like he kind of becomes a Celestial after he busts out of Iron Fist's body here, because it looks like Luke Cage ends up, I guess, killing him in battle, and then Khonshu like kind of comes up out of his body and like, I don't know, becomes a Celestial or something, which I guess, I don't know, like I mean, I guess that's the big deal, but like, I don't know like the rhyme or reason of these events, like, but these are like events of a future which may not actually come, because did anything really happen with the last Timeless? It was a Kang related story, right? And then I don't know.
A lot of the stuff from the Avengers, that was like that Meridian Cord or whatever. That's a lot of the stuff that happened. Avengers came out of the last Timeless one. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, this one, the story, it's okay. But basically, you're buying Timeless is just for whatever reason, all these heroes kind of have to fall through time, and they catch glimpses of the upcoming year in Marvel. And that's basically the interesting thing. If you like reading the comics or you like having this just to see what's going on, it's good. But you can find out all this information online. And basically, it's just, like while he's falling through, you might see 4 or 5 little flashes of, panels of other comics. And, basically you try and infer or read into whatever you can in all those ones. Because I think there's some from the X-Men, probably Spider-Man, a whole bunch of them there. So that's the fun for me in these issues.
I was gonna say, let's go back here and actually take a look at a couple of these things that are happening here in these panels, because the story itself, I agree, it's an interesting future.
Yeah, it's almost secondary. It's just some way to fit all this time travel for these kind of 2 or 3 pages.
So
I give you the glimpses there.
So in this one, there's a lot of things that are already kind of like happening right now in the books. Like we see the thing with Thor and that guy, reading the comic book, like, he owns the rights to Thor. Fantastic Four look like they're burying somebody in this scene. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but it's not any of the main four core there. But then we got a Blade versus Hulk kind of panel going on here. And then the return of the Green Goblin, it looks like, which, is already kind of been set in motion somewhat in the Amazing Spider-Man books. At least, like, it seems like the madness is back in him now, the Goblin. And
I hope there's a twist to that story, and it's not just he comes back crazy and that's it.
Yeah. Then we got something that looks like an Ultron, or like with zombies or something. I don't know what's happening there in that right-hand corner. That's kind of looks like,
I think that could be the Blood Hunt or whatever.
No, but then there's another page that shows the Blood Hunt. So I don't know if that's maybe they showed it twice. I'm not sure, because that kind of looked like more of like an Ultron thing going on there. I don't know, but then there's a zombie element to it, so maybe I'm wrong. And then you got some Moon Knight stuff happening here in the corner as well, which this doesn't really align with the current stuff of Moon Knight, which we'll be talking about later this episode. This Moon Knight stuff that happened in this, so I think it's just like some future tale that they kind of just made up for the sake of showing you these things that are going to be happening this year.
Yeah.
Then you got, this is kind of interesting. It looks like Doctor Doom. Maybe that's the Eye of Agamotto there. I'm not sure what's going on there. He's holding up some sort of a pendant right there. And I don't know, any of these things interest you. This one looks like the Blood Hunt here, Chris. The one in the middle. This looks like the Blood Hunt.
Yeah.
And then you got a Venom thing. I don't know what's happening there. Do you know about this Venom stuff that's happening here? Anything about that? Or
that's Venom's fighting Kid Venom or something. That's the new thing coming out. I think coming out of that Venomverse stuff, that Kid Venom, which I'm not really too interested in.
The thing that kind of interested me almost the most here, though, is in the middle here, you got this Miles Morales phasing out. He might be going back to the Ultimate Universe. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of what I got from that. I was like, with the fact that they've relaunched the Ultimate Universe, does this mean that he's going to be traveling back there at some point? I don't know, because that's could be because they just announced that there is going to be an Ultimates book. I don't know if you've seen that announcement, but they just announced there's going to be like an Ultimates, like basically the Avengers type book universe, which I might be interested in checking out. But I don't know. Maybe that's what they're teasing there. And then you got some X-Men stuff here as well. And then what do we got going on here?
Something with the Punisher versus War Machine or something.
There's this new Punisher that looks like there, right? So that could be interesting. Maybe he's gonna take him out.
I hope so. And I don't know if that'd be in his current series that's going on, or if they're doing something new. Because that current series, he said, was only like a 12-issue series, right?
Right. But I mean, that could be the war that looks. No, I think it's only 4 issues. It's gonna be done in a couple of issues. I think.
Okay, so
I think that's the battle suit, the Punisher War Machine battle suit. So maybe returning, because
who knows in there,
with Marvel, they was also they were talking about possibly doing Armor Wars for like something in Marvel, like the cinematic shit at some point, and that the War Machine might be a big part of that, at least the Punisher version of him, right? So so I don't know. There's some interesting stuff going on here, and then I don't know if this is Avengers related. This other one that's there's another one too where it shows what the hell? There's a character that shows up in one of these panels that kind of got me interested. It's like a D-list fucking character that's in one of them. I don't know. Hold on. Yeah, this one here. Terror Inc. I don't know if you know this guy up in the right corner. I remember that dude from the 90s. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing there? But that might be like the new like Legion of Monsters or something that he's hanging out here with, because that's like Dracula looks like, and it looks like kind of like more of their like Universal monster type characters. But the fact that Terror Inc. standing there, I'm like, who the fuck is doing Terror Inc. in 2024? But it looks to be there. That looks like him. So
let's see how that pans out.
Yeah, I don't know. No one's excited for that. Everyone's like, what? But then you got the Doctor Strange shit here with the kid, which is happening right now in the Jed McKay Doctor Strange. And then there's a whole, I guess that's Magneto returning to the X-Men. He might be the future leader of the X-Men with the way that
it's looking like somebody's there.
Well, yeah, they kind of got him in the chair there. It looks like he's playing the Xavier type of role, and with everything happening in the X books right now, and him coming back, he might be the new kind of guy in charge, right?
I think they're planning on rebooting the series again after the end of the Powers and Fall of X.
They are, yeah. So yeah, possibly some interesting stuff. I guess we'll see. I mean, I don't know how. With the current Power, Iron Man and Power, and Luke Cage kind of situation they got going here, I could possibly get to this point in the future. But like you said, I don't think this is ever meant to be followed up on. It's more, them using it for to show you future events, right?
Yeah.
So what'd you give this one?
I'll give it a 3.75. That the art's great inside, though. The color's good. A lot of nice panels in there all over.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3.5 just based off the story and it. But the teases were fun. I mean, it's purpose in that regard. All right, next up we got Predator versus Wolverine #4, the last issue of this mini series. And
right here.
What did you think of this?
I know. I think this stuff's running out of steam. I think it started running out of steam in the last issue, and this is just more of the same. Like I didn't expect any sort of. I don't know what to say. Like, it's just more trying to retcon stuff that I'm not really a big fan of. There's some good battles in here and stuff like that. But, once they kind of go back in time, like they have whatever, the Wolverine is back at the manor there, the mansion. And, that's why he doesn't want to be, that's why he's always a loner, because everywhere he goes, the Predator's following him. And, not supposed to explain his aloofness, I guess, throughout all this time. It's like, maybe he just didn't like people, which would be reasonable enough on its own. He didn't need to have a Predator chasing him all this time to explain that. And I think at the end, he ends up killing the Predator, and now he feels empty because there's nobody, the Predators, and they're chasing him. But he's got enough people chasing him already, like there's just one less person that's, ready to kill him when he turns the corner. So I think he'd just be a little more chill about it.
I kind of like the ending because, like, in classic Predator fashion, he self-destructed when he lost the battle there. So I kind of liked that because it kind of tracks in terms of how the Predator acts in the films, at least. And there was a whole Arnold moment where like Wolverine's like in the mud trying to like hide his thermal. Yeah. Okay, I get it. It is exactly what happens in the movie, but it kind of I did enjoy watching it from a perspective of being a fan of both of these characters, right?
Yeah.
So, and I really wish they kind of leaned more into that instead of what you were just saying, as opposed to like just trying to like if it fit into continuity of both these things. Like, why don't you just give me 4 issues of these guys fighting? You know what I mean? And that would have been,
it didn't have to fit into anything.
Which is how the series started, but then it kind of showed you them fighting through time, through different moments that are important in Wolverine's history, right? But then some of them made more sense than others, and I think as a result, it wasn't as successful as a series as it could have been in terms of like, this is never gonna matter. So why don't you just fucking have fun?
Yeah, it balls out freaking fighting, where by the end, it's almost like the freaking X-Men versus a whole freaking team of Predators,
Yeah. So
yeah,
I agree with you. It did lose a bit of its allure for me towards the end here, this miniseries, but it wasn't bad still. I think, yeah, I think, but I think if you're going to compare this to what Benjamin Percy has been doing in the current Wolverine series, that's better. This is not as good as that stuff as I would say.
Yeah, this is why I didn't like Benjamin Percy in the beginning, where he's just trying to do freaking movies just with one out. I really hated the freaking what's that surfer movie,
X Lives of Wolverine or whatever, that one that it was
I think it was one of the Wolverine comic where it's Point Break. That's the one where he redid Point Break.
But then he did the Terminator in the X Lives one, remember that? Yes, basically, this guy clearly is a fan of 90s action films or 80s.
Yeah, or he's got no freaking idea. He's just going through whatever the hits were. He's gonna have a freaking he doesn't have a Rambo one coming up or something,
You know, all I needed in this was some guy to walk up to Wolverine and be like, "You son of a bitch! How are you?"
That's what should have happened at the end. You know, just have somebody smoking a big cigar, like, you know, a big freaking pipe of an army.
Why didn't that happen?
Exactly, yeah. If you're gonna do that, go all out. And
there was a bit of it actually in the second issue. They were in the jungle, if you remember, with his old horse, with Maverick and Sabretooth and shit like that. That was basically Predator in the second issue. But that's what I mean. I don't know what happened. Like, it was really fun to begin with, and then this last issue and these last two issues,
they start trying to explain too much.
Yeah. Oh, remember Weapon X, guys? Well, guess what?
Yeah, guess what? Yeah, Predator was part of that. Oh, you remember when Wolverine joined the X-Men? Oh, Predator was part of that too. Get out of here.
Yeah.
With the Predator lore, it's like, oh, you remember when Predator did this? Oh, well, I guess it's because of Wolverine.
Like this, it would have been way better if they just basically just did Predator the film beat by beat with X-Men characters. I would have liked that better.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would have. That's what
could have had Warpath there. He could have been like he could have been in there. You know, didn't Warpath have a brother?
He could be the Jesse Ventura character.
Yeah, that's it. Anyways,
what'd you give this?
I'll give this a 3.5, but I'd give this series a 3.75.
Same. I agree with you because I think the first couple of issues were still really fun.
And they're doing crazy stuff in that first issue. It's freaking riding a whale. They're doing just stuff you don't expect to see. Like that riding the whale is like it's what sold the series on me.
I gave it my favorite of the week. I think I gave it a 5, and I think it beat Wonder Woman that week for me.
That's a mistake. I'll say that much. But
in retrospect, yes. But at the moment, in the moment, that whale, I was fucking writing that one out, man. That was some fun shit. I stick by how fun it was. All right. I also agree. 3.5. Yeah. All right. Next up, we got Duke #1, which is the first of the G.I. Joe mini series, I guess, setting up some of the singular characters before they start the ongoing. Written by Joshua Williamson, art by Tom Riley. And I think the next one that's coming out next month is Cobra Commander, also written by Joshua Williamson. What do you think of this, Chris?
I think it was too bad. I thought it was going to be really cheesy, and but I think it's still staying in the same tone as the Transformers, and it's sort of a whole different world that you're seeing these characters in. You know, it kind of goes back here where he's a little bit shell shocked that this jet turned into a robot, and nobody seems to be doing anything about it. And I think he has to go rogue or something by the end to try and make amends or try and figure out what's going on here. So it's an interesting story, that's for sure.
I agree with you, man, and I'm happy I didn't get burned by this because I was kind of like all in on these like Energon Universe books. Yeah. So far, so good, man. Tom Riley, the art looked good in this, and like to your point, they did treat it like with a serious tone, like that's. But at the same time, there was, wacky like infiltration type shit going on here, where he's going into Deathstro's, like compound in this, and then there's like, what is that his name, Destro or what? Yeah. And there's still like, like the fact that he gets like in that getup to go and infiltrate his thing, like there was still some wacky like stuff that seems like very G.I. Joe-ish, but then at the same time, like they're treating it with like, mature themes, like the PTSD thing, like a guy, but like classic like action kind of tropes and film tropes too in this, where he's like, you used to be the best, Duke, now you're a bomber. You know what I mean? He's like, what happened? You know what I mean? Like, whatever happened to you? Your best grades in your class, this and that, like that. Like, it was like in those action films where like the lieutenant takes the guy's badge. He's like, "That's it, give me your badge." Like it was nothing like that, man. It was like, you know what I mean? I had a good time with this, and again, like the art was really good for a book like this. Like, so, like I'm in. I actually really enjoyed this. I agree. It was a surprisingly good book, and I'm just happy I didn't get burned by it because I was like, okay, I'm all in, and then I kind of got worried prior to the release of this book.
Yeah. Well, I saw the previews for this, and I go, "Oh, this might be bad," like because it was all about. I thought it was all about how Duke is like such a hero and is just going to be going back into his past, where he's cutting his teeth on the battlefield or something. But it was nothing like that, and I'm happy it wasn't.
No, and there was
right into the story.
Yeah, and there's a lot of action in this first issue. Like, this is how you kind of set up a first issue, as far as I'm concerned. Like, this is gonna be a mini series, and there's like a lot of death in this. It got dark at times. Like, I was just like, yeah, this is good. They're really fucking leaning into it, having a mix of like it seems like classic G.I. Joe, yet kind of, you know, basing it in a more real world mature tone. Like, so yeah, I'm in. This is great. Yeah, this whole fucking scene where he almost got lit up and you had to like like get the hell out of there. That was crazy. And then next issue, Stalker and Rock and Roll. Watch out, Man on the Run. I got the other Joes after him now, right? Like, so yeah, very cool. So what'd you give this?
I got a 3.75. I really liked it, but I was trying to find it. Well, I'm not really trying to find it, but if I did buy it, I do regret not buying this one.
There was a preview of Cobra Commander in the back of this one too, and that actually looked pretty good too.
I think I might have Cobra Commander coming.
Okay, yeah, that looked good too. I mean, like in the preview, he already kills a bunch of people. So I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, I give us a 4, man. I'm not like very experienced with G.I. Joe, but I thought that this was a good primer to kind of get you into this side of the G.I. Joe set of stuff going on here in the Energon universe. This was good. All right, Chris, Action Comics 2023 annual.
So I got the issue here, and this sort of wraps up I guess that Blue Earth story with like I think it's like an Ra's al Ghul. It's an Al Ghul Elseworld. And one of the kids has been freaking kidnapped by this multiversal daughter of Batman and Al Ghul or whatever. And I think they take one of those Othro or Osra twins. I don't know what their names are. They should have made their names easier to say or to read. But that's another story. But anyways, once you get in there, you know, you kind of see the future that they see for this girl that Superman's adopted. And that's kind of cool. You know, she turns into some freaking warlord there. She's from that war world, and she's just trying to, what do they call it? Get more iron for her chain, you know. So in the war world, is the bigger your chain was, you know, every time you kill someone, you take their chain. So if you have a giant chain, that means you killed a lot of people here. And that's pretty good stuff. And then we have the demon, and I'm still not sure how the demon and that other character kind of got involved in this story, but they're thrown in there. And you know, I think the story sort of wraps up at the end, and that's the end of this arc. And it was a satisfying completion to the arc, let's say. And I think I'm not sure where the Superman or the Action Comics is going forward to, but that was okay. You know, this wasn't my favorite arc, but it was a satisfying ending to it.
What'd you give it?
Yeah, probably give it a 3.75.
Okay.
I did read this online, and I don't think I ordered it. And I think the comic shop just threw it in my pull bin because I usually order Action, and I wasn't mad that they did give it to me. You know, especially for an annual. Usually annuals kind of suck.
Right. Okay. Next up, we got the Penguin number 5. Yeah, this is. Now that I think the issue's gone past 6 issues, which originally it was supposed to be, I don't know if like it just was more popular than they thought, and then Tom King decided to extend his story, or if while he started writing the story, he decided. But I gotta tell you, like these last 3 issues, though, they've been really. I thought this is a really strong series, I think, still, but especially in these last, like maybe 2 issues, I'll say. It's really been spinning its wheels because, like, you know, me, I as a trope, I've talked about it many times on the show. I am a fan of getting the band together type issues, but instead of getting the band together in one fucking issue, like, you know, like what the hell, like Ocean's 11 style, this is like taking like 3 fucking issues for the Penguin to get his team together for him to go back and take over Gotham, right? So like I don't know, it's just you know, in this one he picks up this mercenary guy and to basically join his team, but the whole issue is based around the fact that he was intimidated to basically come and join his team, and there's a lot of scenes in it of him sitting down in like a restaurant chatting with him from the perspective of the guy looking at the Penguin, being the person, you know, like a first person view of him, kind of like you looking at him, like these scenes right here. And there was a few scenes like this throughout the issue that are basically just like this talking head type moments. And again, he does it well, and the breakdown of these scenes is good. But we've seen it already. I feel like these last couple of issues with him getting other people in line in order to help him. So like, I don't know. I just felt like this was more of the same, and like I'm ready for him to basically just get to Gotham now and see what happens there, which it looks like might happen next issue. But if that was the intended ending of the series next one, then I'm hoping for a really good issue, just because I feel like these last couple ones have let me down, and the series in the middle is kind of meandering now for me. Because when I first read the first issue, I didn't pick it up initially. I went out and bought the physical copy because I'm like, okay, this was really good, and if it's a 6-issue miniseries and it's Tom King, it's Batman related, then I'm on board. But now that it's like an ongoing or a 12-issue series, I'm not even clear on how many issues it is. I'm just like, okay, you better really have like a good story to tell past this initial 6 issues, or this might be on the chopping block again after this one. So, you know what? I'm gonna have to, after even talking about it, I feel wrong giving it a 3.5. I gotta give this one a 3.25. I just, it's still good, but I'm just disappointed by this one. I feel like, you know, it should have did something else with this one, and they should have already got this team together. Okay, so this is whole fucking team behind him here. It's taking them fucking 4 issues to get everybody back there. Right? So anyways, yeah, I got to give it a 3.25 out of 5.
Yeah, I found the same thing with Poison Ivy, where that was supposed to be a limited run. And then, once it was kind of decided that it wasn't, they were going to extend it, then the story just started spinning its wheels for a while until it finds its feet again. Yeah. And even still in Poison Ivy, I don't think it's found its feet.
Yeah.
There, it's I've just been buying that because it's covered, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, like I can appreciate the DC wanting to pull an audible based on the fact that a book is popular. But if that's the case and it kind of goes outside what the expected story that writer was going to write is, like, give them time to maybe put some more stuff together, or even so, maybe even bring in another writer after that initial arc, if that's the case and you want to change up the direction with someone new, right? I just don't think it makes sense, because sometimes it's like, I feel like they're really pulling something out of their ass for them to be like,
yeah, what I think they're doing, like they don't want to commit to a like, if this was like a Penguin series, maybe that's not so popular, but a Penguin miniseries is more,
right,
it's something might be more likely to buy.
Right. And I think, and then maybe that's what I'm experiencing here while reading this, because like I thought the quality was really good those first couple of issues and what got me invested in picking this up. And now, like, I'm just like, okay, like, are we getting to the point here of this story, or what's happening here?
Yeah, you're gonna have some freaking guest artist come in that's freaking just gonna shit the bag, and then you're gonna be like, what the heck is this?
Yeah. So, and then next up, I got the Holy Roller #2. I think this is the last issue I pre-ordered. As you guys may remember, I wasn't a big fan of the first issue, and yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a bit of the same here. I'm kind of happy that I dropped it though off my initial reaction, because now it's been revealed that it's only going to be a 10-issue series. So if it gets better, because I am a big Remender Mark, like I love his work, despite him teaming up with fucking Andy Samberg and fucking Fallout Boy band member, whatever in this one. I might check it out eventually in the collection, but yeah, again, this was distracting because there's another fucking guy that showed up in this issue, which again looks exactly like the actor that's associated, who, if they do something like with like a show or a movie of this comic, the artist drew him to look exactly like the actor who I guess he's intended to play that guy. So it's really fucking distracting. Like, I don't even know the name of the actor that's in this that shows up, but as soon as I see him on the page, I know I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. Like I can tell, like, so yeah. I will say the artist is doing a good job of depicting these actors in his art, but it kind of is distracting me from like what could otherwise be a good story. I don't know, but this is kind of dealing with the fallout of this guy who goes back to his old town. It's like a Walking Tall situation of some sort. And I don't know. I guess there's like a lot of anti-Semitism shit going on here. I guess he's Jewish, and he ends up beating the shit and killing somebody, it looks like, with a bowling ball at the end of the last issue. And now he's back at home. It's all over the news. He's on the run. This black guy who's like a friend of his from his childhood shows up. And I don't know if you guys recognize the actor, but like he's been in a bunch of shit, this guy who they show here. And then all of a sudden, instead of the cops, because I guess these guys run the town, his father runs the town because there's like, these rich kids. Instead of the cops showing up, it's them who show up at his door after he beat the shit out of a bunch of them with the bowling ball, and they start trouble. And it's it's up to him to basically defend his household now from these fucking these guys. So yeah, again, the trope isn't even. I mean, it's not a trope. The plot line isn't even really original. I feel like we've seen this a million times in other fucking things. So I think this is more of an influence of the Andy Samberg and the fucking Fallout Boy guy storyline that they came up with, more so than Remender. I think this is Remender just assisting them and bringing their storyline to life through as a seasoned comic book vet, quite frankly. So. It's not bad. It's not great. I give this a 3.25 out of 5. All right. So what's up next here? Let's see here. Local Man number 8 here. One of Chris's last year's favorite books. Dark Horse kind of fucking pick here, and many of his stats kind of showed us that was the case, guys. If you go back and check our year-end awards show. What'd you think of this one, Chris?
Well, I feel bad now because I didn't like this one so much, but it was still good. Like, I didn't understand. Is he still high in this comic one?
I think he had some a bit of it the next day still was in the system. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Because like the last issue, you knew he was totally high the whole time, and he was kind of they were really playing that up. And this one here, you couldn't really tell. Like every once in a while, it looked like he was, under the influence of with the mushrooms or whatever he was doing, but it seemed to be kind of on and off. So that kind of threw me for a loop. But nonetheless, it was still a good story. Just moving the story along about what's going on in their town. I think there's a bit of history thrown in there, like some of that Gen 4 stuff. It's overall, it's still an interesting story. I'm following through, and next issue comes out, I'll probably definitely give it a read.
I still like this. I agree. Maybe it wasn't as strong as maybe a couple of the, especially the last issue. But yeah, there's still a lot of interesting things going on though that keep me coming back. I think this whole relationship between him and the one that's married to the cop is still really fucked up. He's like banging her in the woods in this one and reminiscing about them when they were younger. And and like you said, he's still a little off in this one. He's still got some of the drugs in his system, and it keeps coming back. And I will say I do still like the creativeness sometimes of this book, though, because the one thing I did want to point out is at the end here, when it goes to like to be continued for next issue. And I don't know what the hell this creature thing is. I guess we'll find out more about that next issue, but it looks like there was like some locked up superhero being or villain or something, like I guess from like this is the reason that cop woman
like that with that water that was dripping, and
I
didn't understand what the heck was going on. Maybe that'll be more explained in the next issue as well.
I hope so, yeah. But like the thing here at the end was that he kind of fell off the page, like literally broke the page panel, and then it was to be continued. And then if you actually looked at where the ads normally are at the back of the book for other series, he actually continued.
He's still in there. That's another thing. I don't know if you have to read that stuff in there if that's still part of the story.
Well, in a way, it kind of is because there's a part where
at the end he kind of finds himself, but he's lost in there right now.
And then there's the backup story that they normally do in these books where it kind of shows back in the day when he used to be part of the super team. And there's a reveal that explains what's going on with that woman and how this person came to be. And in it, he's like, oh, that's what's going on. he's like, now I know. Like, right. So it's really fucking cool. Actually, I like did this. I thought this was just a nice little extra thing that they thought of doing, which they didn't necessarily have to do, but it actually adds a lot to the, it was very cool. I've never seen that done before. I was like, I've seen lots of breaking the fourth wall type things, but to actually go into the ads, to actually go into the backup story of him kind of just walking through and commenting on shit, I thought that was really fucking cool. Like one of the artists and writers of this book, these are his books that are advertising in the back, and he's like commenting on them and shit. So yeah, really fucking cool. So I liked that a lot. What'd you give this out of 5?
Well, now you talk about that part there, I forgot about all that stuff. That was pretty good. I'll still give it a 3.75.
Same. I agree. But I liked that a little bit. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
All right, next up, they got the Schlub number 5, Chris.
Yep, been reading this one, enjoying this one. Just reading it online though, and just more of I guess the story building. It seems like the Schlub there is sort of got a hold of his powers, and like this was after they both sort of, what do they have? They had their family dinners. It seemed where they both did extremely well as their alter egos, let's say. And this one here, I guess kind of putting the shit hits the fan. Let's say
Yeah.
the big bad comes back and he wants his body back, and he starts stealing taking some of the other people hostage. And I don't know what that the big bad is his name here, but it looks like he has things kind of all wrapped up, and I guess his minions turn on him and kind of give the Schlub an out to get back in on things. So I thought it was still another fun issue, and for Stegman writing, it's the first time. Is this the first thing he's been writing in a while, or
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's
for sort of a fantastical story? I don't think it's too bad.
Yeah, it's not bad, but I think it's like hitting. Like, I'm also just reading this one online. I think this is one of those books where I don't mind reading it, and I think it's decent, but I also am okay with the fact that I'm not picking this up physically.
Yeah.
It will be something like, I don't think, unlike Local Man, where I actually picked up the trade of this, I don't think I'll be picking this up, but it's not bad. And like you said, the fact that Stegman's kind of stepping out and starting to write some more, I thought this was it's been a decent series with some interesting twists. And I guess the big one in this, like you said, was the fact that this alien creature that shows up, it looks like that body is actually was his body. Like, that guy, that this body that he's swapped with the superhero is actually not his to begin with. Like, he was one of these green creatures that was dying out, right? And they his father did the body swap. So, I mean,
whatever the I don't know what you can call the hero. His family isn't the nicest people. Like, they seem to be, whatever, cosmic conquerors themselves.
Yeah, that's right. So that was kind of interesting learning this one, right? But yeah, what'd you give this out of 5?
I think I'll give it a 3.5. It's still good, but like you say, it's nothing that's crazy.
Yeah, same, 3.5 for me. All right, next up we got World Tree number 6. Did you read this?
Yeah, I did read this one, but I feel that we haven't been part of World Tree for a few months now or something. Did they take a break?
They did, yeah. I think it was off for something like that. And I gotta say, this was not a great reintroduction to this story.
Yeah, for sure. I forget what happened. I thought the end of World Tree, that whatever that Undernet was released into the world or something, and this one kind of goes back into like some back history, or I don't know. I wish they just kind of kept everything on pace and kept moving forward.
I agree. I mean, to be honest, this was such a jarring kind of return even for me, and that it kind of almost made me reconsider picking up the issues, because now I'm like, maybe I should just read this in a trade, because like it was because of that delay and where they left off, and now they're kind of like, it just feels like that maybe this will read better as a chunk, because you
almost have to go back to the last issue just to figure out where we're at for this issue, and really this issue has nothing to do with the last issue,
and it wasn't that memorable of an issue. Like,
I
can't even tell you all that like, again, you're right, they basically were establishing some of the past history of these characters, the team that basically is now responsible for putting a stop to this underweb taking over or whatever. But again, like, it really at this point in time doesn't do much for the current day storyline. You get a bit of that in this, but then between this boardroom scene and then the other scene with the cop, there was these 2 cop characters in this book, and the one partner got taken out last issue, and the one woman's at the funeral for her partner, and there's some other dude that comes out of the woodworks and offers his help. So like, there's a lot of stuff that's building and they're alluding to, and that maybe will flesh out and actually take effect with like a few issues from now, but nothing like, I think this was just bad on his part to bring us back into the fold with this type of issue. Like, it was Yeah, I agree with you 100% because even
Yeah, you can't start it like, restart the arc with a filler issue. This could be like those Walking Dead. That's not your beginning of the series
yeah.
or even starter. This is like your fourth or fifth issue or something.
Yeah, so I don't know what I'm gonna do now. Like I think I have the next couple of issues pre-ordered, but I don't know if it doesn't pick up, I might have to just read this in trade all of a sudden now, just because I'm not like I don't know. I really liked that first arc, and now I'm just like, oh, where are you going with this, right? So maybe we'll see. We'll see that. I'm still in it. I'm still reading it, but this was not a great return to form. What'd you give this?
I'd give this a 3.5 too.
Oh, I wouldn't even give it that high. I give this a 3, honestly. I really, it was jarring for me. The art was really good. The story is still good story, but like it's just I wish they didn't approach it this way, like coming back after the arc, right? But next up we got Justice Society of America #8. Continuing this story. Yeah, this is another middling type of book. I feel like this week. This was okay. I mean, again, we're kind of branching out and learning now about, I guess, some other new heroes that might join the current day GSA. And then there's like, I think this one's like from Russia. It's like she's from some other place in the world, and a character I'm not really familiar with. And again, they've brought back older members with newer members in the current day, like because they're from like another Earth or whatever. So we're kind of seeing them now trying to form the team and move forward with this new version of the GASA in like, DC's current timeline. So, I guess Kyle Rayner is helping round up some new members in this issue. And I'm not actually even familiar with this person. I don't know if she's new or I just not familiar with her, but she's got a lot of fire powers to her. And I can't remember her name. So this was okay. I mean, it wasn't my favorite issue. Then there's another character that shows up here at the end who he says Legionnaire. I think there's the Legionnaires in DC. I don't know if again, this is maybe like a deep cut fucking character I'm not aware of, but he showed up at the end of the issue. So I guess that may be a big deal. I'm not sure. But yeah, I give this a 3.5. It's a really great looking book, though. I will say that. But this was kind of just like, middle of the story type issue. Next up, we got Ribbon Queen #6. I think there's 8 issues in this series. Yeah, I've been liking this. This is a Garth Ennis series from AWA. Jason Burrows is really good. But like, it's been an interesting cop/horror story. But then in this issue, and there's been some similar themes throughout the series so far as well. But this one, they really leaned into it. Like, there's a whole opening scene where this cop that we've been following in this story tells the guy that she's been kind of like a friend of hers, that she's been kind of dealing with the horror aspect of the storyline throughout this series with. He tells her a story about something that happened when she was younger and she almost got raped. And then there is like, and then they go into like this, like, again, why she's not respected on the force. And there was like a lot of preachy kind of like social type stuff that I think that they're dealing with today, like in terms of like, like Me Too stuff and like, and then like, stuff with maybe women in workplaces. And there's like, I don't know. I didn't like, I liked it more when it was more the horror aspects of the story. And like, it just became too real world type fucking problems in this issue. And I was just like, a bit of it throughout the series was okay, but then like that was kind of more, they kind of didn't deal with any of the horror aspects of the storyline going on and how like this person's going around like basically ripping people to shreds in this storyline. And then by the end of this issue, it looks like maybe that's where they're going to lead into the discovering of what's happening in the next issue. But yeah, there was just a lot of kind of stuff like that kind of happened in this issue. I didn't really like dig. I didn't expect that to kind of happen in this issue, and a lot of theme type stuff. I wasn't really looking to read this one this time around. So I gave this a 3 out of 5. This issue. The series has been not bad, but yeah, this wasn't my favorite one. And then the last one here that I got is Universal Monsters Dracula #3. This is probably the best issue of the miniseries so far. It's only a 4-issue miniseries. I haven't sang this book's praises, despite it being by James Tynion and an artist that he worked on Department of Truth with, Martin Simmons. I think the art's been really great throughout if you kind of like this type of style. But it's just been basically more of your, like, what you would expect from a Dracula story. But this one was a really good issue. I think this was a really good singular issue. A lot of interesting things happen in this issue. I think this is the best representation of what, like, his Dracula story has been so far in this particular one. And I'm not going to be sad to see it go with the next issue because, like, this isn't something I want to read forever. But I could see people really liking this that do like James's work, or they do like Dracula. This was a standout, I think, so far amongst this miniseries. Even for me, who wasn't really loving it, let's say, but just kind of going along with it. I gave this a 3.75 out of 5 this issue. Really good stuff, though. All right, Chris. Book that really really got shit on, I think, during the award show this past week. That's Harley Quinn 35.
Let's see. They got the issue here somewhere.
Oh, there's my Universal Monsters. And yeah, me too. I got this one here.
Yeah, this is freaking more of the same, if I remember it correctly. I was hoping the arc would change or something. I think they have a new... No, this was still Sweeney Boo in here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. I'm hoping for more. I'm hoping it changes. I might ride this out. This arc can't be lasting forever. And I hope they get a new artist in there and kind of bring this back into outside of the Archie type comic. That's the only thing I feel when I read this. I feel like I'm reading an Archie comic, and I don't really like that.
Yet again, I think the highlight of this issue for me, because it's more of the same. If you want to hear further our negative thoughts and feelings on this book, go back and check out the year-end award show. I think this made both of our categories in terms of things that we didn't like this past year that aren't really living up to how good I feel. Well, it was never amazing, but I thought there was a lot of good stuff when this series started out, and we've gone down a path here with Teenie Howard as the writer and Sweeney Boo as the artist. Whenever this creative shakeup happened from Stephanie Phillips writing the book and them taking over, me and Chris is just not being a fan of what's been kind of happening in this. And I will say still the highlight of her run on this book, though, has been the backup artist, because I think we're seeing some interesting artists on the book. And this was more of the same in that regard, this backup story. While the backup stories haven't been all good either, I think that the artists that they've been putting on them have been interesting artists that you normally wouldn't see on a lot of this big two type stuff. Like this artist, Leo Max, he has done some stuff with DC before, but again, not your kind of house style, let's say, in terms of art. And there's always some cool, weird stuff that happens in these backup stories because they're like essentially dreams that Harley's been having, right? So like it's all like, like you got a bunch of fucking dinosaurs. She's on the run with Killer Croc in this. So some fun stuff in these backup stories. I think that's I think that's still been the only thing I've been looking forward to when I pick up this book, is seeing maybe what they got in the backup story, because the main story has just been boring as fuck, honestly, and just like not what I'm looking for in a Harley Quinn book. But what'd you give this then?
Yeah, it's 3.
Damn. Yeah, that's a shame, but it is what it is. Then we got Sensational She-Hulk number 3, Chris, this week.
Let's see. I think I got a variant cover there if I can find it. Where was it? The heck? Anyways, there's a bit of a fallout from... Fuck, where's that cover though? It's a good cover. I think there's... She-Hulk was fighting. There we go.
Ooh. Nice.
Variant cover there, looking good.
Nice one. Is that an art germ?
No, it's what was the name?
that Nakayama guy or whatever his
No,
name is?
it's not Nakayama. They're supposed to. What did Spider Woman 2 come out this week?
I
There's
don't.
supposed to be a Nakayama cover coming out.
Ooh.
Is this Ariel Diaz? Maybe. I think this might be from the Artgerm crew. Like, there's a crew that Artgerm rolls with. I think it's like Lyrics Lee or something. There's a whole kind of 3 or 4 of them that work together, or
I
they're.
didn't know that.
And I think he's part of that crew that they Ariel Diaz. I forget who it was though, but yeah, it's Ariel Diaz. I think I could see it there.
Okay.
But yeah, and anyways, what goes on? Yeah, this is the fallout from that battle. And well, I guess they're fighting that. I guess they give that lady a name there, that She-Hulk. Anthema or something. Which I don't think is a big deal. And I don't know why this Anthema isn't freaking stronger. She seems freaking super crazy. Like, I don't know how She-Hulk still kind of goes toe to toe with her. But anyways, they take off, and Hulk takes She-Hulk for a ride there, and they kind of just go out to the wilderness and have a little tete-a-tete, I guess. A little talk about, what's going on. And the only thing, I'm not sure which kind of Hulk this is, if this is supposed to be the same Hulk that's being portrayed now in the actual Incredible Hulk comic, because he seems to be more in control and more aware of what he's doing and all that sort of stuff. But, this still more true to form as all these She-Hulk comics have been. It's just, it's a different vibe, but it's still enjoyable and it's fun to read. Yeah, and I give it, I'd probably give maybe a 3.75. It's always good to see having She-Hulk and Hulk together,
Yeah, I read this as well. I would agree.
Oh, okay.
3.75, but I don't really have anything to add past what you said. Yeah, no, I jumped back on. I've been reading this online, even though I collect the trades of this. But this relaunch, I kind of jumped back in, and yeah, this wasn't bad. Yeah, it was 3.75 for me as well. Let's see here. What do we got next? Then we actually got Titans Beast World #3. All right, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I think this Titan Beast World story started to grow on me. I think I was talking about that earlier. Yeah. And I just read this one online. And, when you're not really fully invested and you're not paying for anything, it's still decent reads. I think the main title is good. And, it's kind of fishing me in to see what's going on in some of the other storylines. I think I read a few of them, and that might not be the greatest, but I'm still enjoying this main one. And what do they have? Is Batman trapped in here? They have Batman caught, right? And he's the wolf.
Yeah.
And I guess they're trying to figure out what's going on. And
this scene was funny with the ship. She's like, like the doctor. She like throws a flashlight at him. He's like, I'm not one of those beasts out there.
It would have been funny if whatever Detective Jim came back as a human or something. But yeah, I gotta say, I enjoyed it. It's just good popcorn comics there. And well, what happens? Power Girl here. What does she turn into, like a Firebird or something?
A phoenix.
Like, that's what the good thing is here. Is anytime any of these big heroes kind of get infected, you want to see what they turn into.
Yeah.
I think there's this one. There might have been another one out there where, is it Dick Grayson? He gets infected and he turns into like a cat or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, but it's fun reads. I don't know. Did you read this or?
Yeah, I've been liking this. I agree with you. It's not been bad. Like, it's not like a game changer. It's not the best thing I fucking read this week, but as an event is something that I'm just, I've been reading online and following. It's not half bad. I'll tell you, this is better than the last fucking couple of events that DC.
Yeah, everything can't be, the Dark Crisis or something, and I'm glad it's something a little different.
And you know what? I think that we gave it a bit of a short shrift just because it is an event and we haven't really been digging on much events as of lately, even this past year. But Tom Taylor is the one writing all this. So like we're big fans of Tom Taylor. At least I am. I don't want to speak for you as well. I know you've liked a bunch of stuff he's done too, but I also think that he cooled off a bit this past year in terms of like how, what the series that we were really liking that he was doing. Outside of Nightwing, which also cooled off for me a bit this year. I know you kind of out on all that, but but he's still a good writer. So like, I think this has been the fact that he's been the one kind of behind the wheel on this event, as well as the Titans title. this stuff's been good. I haven't really read any of the other tie-in shit, which I'm not going to, but this has been decent. This has been decent for an event. It's, it's fun. So what'd you give this out of 5?
I might have to give it a 3.75 because I did like it.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3.
And like I said, I think this is right up Tom Taylor's sort of milieu, let's say. It's like it's not an Elseworld, but he gets to do Elseworld things.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Then you got Titans number 6, also written by Tom Taylor. Did you check this one out, or?
Yeah, like I said, I get mixed up all those ones. I don't know if this is the one where Dick Grayson gets turned into a cat at the end, or if that was out of Nightwing. I don't know, but
no, this was the
one. Get a chance to read this one, or?
Yeah, this was the one where it kind of focused a bit on Starfire's history back on Tamaran.
Oh, yeah.
And then by the end of it, the big reveal in this was they kind of tied in the conclusion of their last arc of the first arc of the Titans book. Now that we've kind of gone into the event, there was the whole thing with Brother Blood being the bad guy of the first arc. But by the end of this, it turns out that might be some Tamaranian guy, apparently that's been posing as Brother Blood. So I think this is kind of like, like the old school comic approach where he's trying to fold one plot into another with the.
Yeah, I think this is a bit too much.
Yeah, but I do think there is still some good story beat type stuff happening here, because I have been reading this series. I know you dropped off of it, I think, first issues. I still liked seeing some of these moments though in this issue. Then Garth kind of comes and helps him out after he was kind of on the outs with the team, because he was taken over by one of these spore type creatures as well that the Brother Blood thing had brought on. And but yeah, I don't know where that's going with the fact that it looks like he's like a Tamaranian of some sort that I guess she has history with. I don't know what's going to happen there, but so that was a bit of an unexpected twist. Whether or not that's gonna pan out and be something interesting or something stupid, like you said, it was maybe a little too much for you. I guess we'll see, right? But that's kind of what happens at the end here. She's like, she says the guy's name, and she's like, what the hell, like your blood. So yeah, anyways, what did you give this?
I give this one a 3.5. I didn't have the greatest feelings about this one.
Yeah, I agree with you though. 3.5 for me as well. I didn't hate it. Then we're gonna end off with some X-Men books for the last week of December here with Immortal X-Men number 18, which looks to be the conclusion of this series for now. So I know that Kieran Gillen is going to be doing the other X book that comes out next week. That's supposed to be the one going on with Fall of X. I don't know if was it Rise of X, I think it's called.
Yeah, Rise of Powers of X or something. I got my copy here too.
What do you think of this one, Chris?
It's still a little wacky that everything's happening out in the White Room, and then
I don't know what the fuck happened in this comic. Can you explain it to me? Because
I can't explain it to you. I don't know. You just gotta read it and enjoy it, I guess. Because you see all this stuff happening, then you see the one scene where Mother Righteous is just basically sitting in a room meditating, so she's not really involved in there. And what do you have? Hope? I don't know. She's dead, and then she comes alive, and then they're trying to stop Mother Righteous from. I don't know. This seems like this White Room is like a Genesis where you can kind of write your own story, and this is what Mother Righteous was trying to do, and she thinks she wins, and she writes her story on the empty page or something, and then she forgets the cardinal rule is that there's always a twist, and that's the big follow-up in the end. And then with that stuff with Professor X and Sinister. So once again, they're kind of retconning some stuff in here, like, that what with Destiny, that she knows everything that's been going on, but she couldn't say because there's some all-powerful force that's always watching and always listening. So I don't know. I'm not keen on that idea that they're kind of trying to throw out there. But even still, it's a fun read. I'm excited to see where it goes.
No, I agree with you. Despite not maybe understanding everything that occurred here in this issue, there was still enough to enjoy for me. And I'm looking forward to where it goes from here, because not only is Kieran Gillen going to be continuing, I guess, his conclusion of his X-Men stuff in the Rise of X or Powers of X, or whatever it's called, he's also going to be doing that other mini series that we talked about in the most recent solicits, which is going to be, I think, wrapping up his storyline from this series, which is a 4-issue mini series, and that's the one that's had Jean Grey kind of splayed out on the cover in like a blood kind of circle of some sort. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that one. I forgot the name of it, but yeah, I am still looking forward to see, like, Immortal X-Men has been pretty good as well. Like I know we kind of talk about
I don't know. This might be a pause again until they kind of clean up their house, let's say,
Oh no, this is done for now. That's why I said, like, I think the conclusion of this series is going to be in that mini series that he's doing, which is like in that, like, I think that's what's happening. So I don't know if I think this is the end of this series, Immortal X-Men, and then I think he's going to wrap up whatever happened here in the next couple of little mini series he's got going, right? So, but yeah, this scene was badass where she kicked her in the face.
Yeah.
But
it's almost like they're all in some sort of purgatory. And I guess another big reveal there is that because of Mother Righteous that everybody ended up in this white hot room or whatever they call it. Because I guess they're like, according to Orchis, they were all supposed to go to Mars, right, or to Araki. But I guess she kind of, finessed the gates to send them all here. So I still don't know how Mother Righteous got all this pull like out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of the X factor, pun intended there. Like kind of like the wild card character that they into the continuity here of, like, you really don't know much about this character. So
and why she's doing, like, she doesn't hate mutants, but she wants their power for Dominion or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I guess she is. Yeah, she is still one of the Sinisters.
Yes. Yeah. Technically, yeah.
And was there a fourth? Is this where the fifth Sinister comes in, or is that another story?
I think that's another story.
Oh, that's another book. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna ahead myself here.
What'd you give this?
I'll give this a 3.75. It's still wacky though.
Dave.
But wacky seems to be we'll talk about wacky too in another comic I'm reading.
I'll still give it that rating though, because it's if anything, it's very interesting still to me, despite understanding everything. It's still well written, good art, and
caring what happens to these characters, because they all got to come back sooner or later for to fight the fight, let's say.
Yeah. All right, and then finally, for the last week of December 27th, books releases, we got X-Force 47, Chris, right here. What'd you think of this?
I might have to see some of the panels. I'm pretty sure I read this, but
this was a pretty basic, like, the team coming back together after the event.
Oh yeah, they have their new base now in the Antarctic.
Yes, because what happened? Wolverine, obviously Ben Percy writes that in this book. So when he went off on his team up tour of our arc that we just had after the fallout of the Dark Beast shit, or whatever, the Beast stuff. This is basically the team coming back together here. And like you said, there's a new base. But the cool thing I thought about this issue was they actually met up with the Alpha Flight team that we just saw from Alpha Flight miniseries in the snow. So I was like, okay, that's pretty fucking cool, because I thought that was going to be the end of Alpha Flight, at least from what we saw of them during that miniseries. And then they kind of showed up in this book for an appearance, which I thought was pretty cool, because now, of course, Wolverine's son is part of that little Alpha Flight team from that book, right? Yeah. That was kind of, I think other than that, though, this was kind of like a very basic kind of,
I think they're just still setting up for, I guess their next phase, or I don't think this can't be lasting too much longer either, I'd imagine.
I think this is probably going to go to 50 issues, and that might be it, right? Like, I think we're closing in on the current status quo or endings of these series right now. Honestly.
Yeah, if they reboot the main series, everything's got to go, really.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, this was still good, but yeah, I think this was just like them reshuffling the deck chairs a bit here. So
yeah, I think they're basically trying to go after Beast again. Wasn't there some mention of Beast near the end or something like that? Or
there's a Sentinel thing that's happened. And Quentin Quire there, and then there's also, like you said here, when they get back together, Beast has.
The Beast is there, freaking ready to shoot someone. That's it. Just seeing the Beast come back, that's worth the price of admission for that whole issue, for that whole
absolutely
for that comic,
What'd you give this out of 5?
But yeah, not worth a 4 or something like that. That's a 3.5.
3.5 for me as well. Yep. There you go. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for the week of December 27th, which was our last week of the year. Stay tuned. We still got the January 3rd, first week of the new year here to talk about next. But Chris, what was your favorite of this week, the last week of last year?
This last week was lackluster. I'll say that much.
I agree.
Nothing really stood out. And if I do have to say something that did stand out, because I have to read it twice, I think it was the Immortal X-Men. Even though it wasn't my favorite, but there's a lot of stuff going on in there. You know that I'm really enjoying the storyline where it is, and it's a you can call this an event really because it is encompassing a whole bunch of issues. It's overarching. So I'm going with the Immortal X-Men.
Wow, surprising. I'm surprised. Like you said, it wasn't that strong of a week to end out the year. But I'm gonna give it to Duke #1 because I think this was like the most well-rounded, solid book, and it didn't disappoint. Where I was a little worried about that one, but I will say there could have been better competition. Nothing really gave it a run for its money. I will say. I think
no heavy hitters there at the end of the year. That's for sure.
I think it's the only 4 I gave out of everything here that we talked about for this week. So there you go.
1 second, you're right back here.
Yeah, not a problem. All right, well, Chris is going to do that. We're starting up with our next week's comic releases here, and that's going to be January 3rd. 2024, which is our first week of comics here, guys. A bit of a smaller week, but that's kind of why we like to combine these 2 weeks at the end of the year, because that's usually the case and gives us the opportunity to do our little Comic Shop Talk Awards show here for you guys. But yeah, much better week, I think, in terms of, in comparison, honestly. And first book out, we're going to start off with a big one here, guys. Fall of the House of X, #1. It's Art Germ, Ilyana Magic here cover, Rasputin here, Miss Rasputin.
Yeah,
get this one as well, Chris.
Got that one for sure.
I always go for a Magic variant. I love these.
That's an early contender for cover of the year
already.
Even though it's an art term. This is a great art term, let me tell you.
Starting off strong for those ballots, guys, for the next year's awards already.
Nice, full body, full color. There's nothing. The last few art terms, at least Batman had, they've been all kind of, black and whitish, or, almost like, just white and blue or something like that. But that's a nice full color one. Can't choose a better subject either. So love that cover.
Yeah. So what'd you think of this though, Chris? Because this is a long time coming. This is basically supposed to be the culmination of the Krakoa era as we know it here with this and the Rise of the Powers of X series going on at the same time. This one's being written by Jerry Duggan, who, we sang his praises in the awards show last week when we did that. He had a really good year as far as we're concerned in terms of the stuff that he did. So yeah, what'd you think of this?
Wasn't too big on how this one started. It almost freaking started like that Immortal X-Men one, where it's just being freaking let out in the wilderness there, and he's part of a dream. And there's some suspect art in here. When you get to that one panel, or unless you know what it is, where Cyclops smiles, I thought that was just crazy. But otherwise, the story's there. It's good. There's some good dialogue between, I guess, Cyclops and who's that Dr. Abigail, the leader of the Orcus. And this is a little bit of stupid retconning here that the fastball special was the first mutant circuit. I don't know why you got to say that. I guess you can think about it, but I'm sure mutants were combining their powers before this, back in the Savage Avengers days when the mutants were roaming around there. But anyways, yeah, we'll give them that. But I love the violence in here, though, when they try and do the screwball. This panel here. Not that one there. The one with Cyclops there, where he's talking with I guess the leader of Orcus there, and he's doing that stupid grin. It's like, what the hell is
that? What do you mean?
That just made me laugh, even though it wasn't supposed to make you laugh. Funny, ha ha.
Hold on, this is next week, next beer. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, let me just sit here and give you that smirk. But the dialogue is okay. So, what are you laughing about? Then he's like, "Oh, I wasn't. The question wasn't for you. It was for the Sentinel or whatever."
There's some good art. though. There were some.
Well, yeah, like once you're outside of that page, though, but hey, this is I think your favorite trope here. They're getting the band back together, but it's a freaking big band that they're getting together, and I can't wait for more. Not much happens. Basically, they're just bringing all the players, putting all the players on the board here. Let's say.
Yeah, I think
At least all the mutant, all the one team, not even the other team.
Yeah, I think I don't want to say this issue was underwhelming, but I think like once you get to the middle of this fucking mini series, like we're in store for hopefully some really fucking good moments, because like I think he kind of eased us into this issue where it was like, yeah, you know what, I got stuff in store, but he didn't go fucking buck wild in this first issue.
Yeah, because all basically we're trying to save Cyclops, and there's some crazy stuff that Professor X is probably doing if he's pulling out Rasputin there or whatever her name is.
Actually, yeah, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, like because they were about to free Cyclops, and he's like, "I need you to come now," and he's like, "Okay."
Right. This stuff was actually pretty fucking cool though, with the Krakoa and Orchis stuff. This stuff was cool.
Yeah.
Nimrod goes there to destroy him, and fucking Krakoa gets up and starts like fucking fighting him, like the actual tree and shit. I was like, oh shit! Like I was like, that.
But how do you stop Nimrod so easily? Like this guy has been unstoppable for so long. He just spits some amber on him. He's like, "Oh, I'm out." I know they have to for whatever reason of the story, but they tried to figure a better way to disable him. But it's hard when he's been such a powerhouse, throughout the whole this whole time span, really,
Sure. Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, it's great stuff.
Oh man, and then the way it ended here with them supposedly trying to get help from the Brood, because of course they had Brew, who used to be part of the X-Men. He used to be part of even going all the way back to the Wolverine and the X-Men era when he attended school that Wolverine was the headmaster of. One of my favorite series ever that Jason Aaron wrote. Brew has always been cool with them. When they established this plot thread like way earlier in Jerry.
So the X-Men, whatever, 10 or something like that.
Yeah. So like the fact that they kind of had this happen here where she, what's her face here? What the fuck is her name? Great looking Paige.
Polaris. Yeah, she's looking great there as
great fucking scene.
Trying to take over the role of Magneto, which
I
wouldn't mind if she did.
I dug that.
Let Magneto die for a while. The Rise of Magneto should be her.
I mean,
that's what happens in Rise of Magneto. That would be freaking awesome.
Yeah, when Polaris showed up here in this scene, though, like where she shows up and it's her kind of trying to get the Brood's help, I was just like, that was a sick way to end off the issue, honestly. And I think it's one of the better kind of pages that this artist drew, like her showing up. He killed this one. So yeah, I kind of, by the end of it, I was really looking forward to the next one. But I agree, some of the events during the actual issue itself weren't like, they weren't the craziest, but yeah, good start though, nonetheless, I thought. What would you give this one then?
I'll give it a 4 though. I think it was good stuff still.
Same 4 out of 5, yeah. All right.
But we just want to talk about this here some more still, this because you have that Powers of X that's coming out this next week. And that supposedly takes place 10 years in the future.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The X-Men are wiped out.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So they're going to lose this fight, I imagine, but anyways, I guess we can talk about that later.
Yeah. I didn't know that was the case with that one. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's good that I like that him and Karen Gillan are both going to have their own series that kind of flesh out some of the events of this, because Duggan's still going to be writing the main X-Men series throughout this. And then Karen Gillan's got those other mini series he's going to do to kind of wrap up his Immortal X-Men. But I like how they kind of are really blending together, where I don't feel like either book is interfering on the events of the others.
Yeah, but they're both aware of what's going on in each other's stories.
And then the fact that you just confirmed, which I didn't know, the fact that Karen Gillan's mini series is actually going to be taking place in the future, it kind of leaves room for Jerry Duggan really to kind of line up the end of the story for the current day stuff, right? So yeah, I'm actually, I think that's a good thing actually, if that's the route they're going. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I look forward to it. All right, another fucking banger of the week, in my opinion. Batman 141 here this week. Now, this was a book that wasn't high on our list during this award show this past, this past week that we recorded, guys. I got to say, 2023 was for a follow up to 2022. Chip Zdarsky's Batman was not as great, but I even said, I'm like, towards the end of the year, though, these last couple of issues have been really good. I gotta say, I think it started off fucking super strong here, Chris. This issue for the year, I think between this and the Joker year one thing that's going to happen, he has a fucking issue 150 that's going to be coming out this year. There's a chance this could be rise to the fucking top of the stack here.
I think last year they were just stalling.
Yeah. So some good stuff happening here. What'd you think of this, though?
I think it was a great one. Great art. You can't go as this George or Jorge Jimenez. Yeah. He better be on this book for at least another year. Mm-hmm. Like, he better not be taking any breaks or anything, or if it's a break, something that they write into the story where it's not part of this whatever they got going on. But just some good classic Batman scenes, like where that whatever the failsafe or Zur, whatever they call him, he's trying to he does tempt Batman with saying, "Hey, buddy, I got it now. I'm going to do this my way. You can just go relax. You can go live your life, do what you like." But then, of course, Batman's Batman. And he says, "Hey, you're not Batman. I am." And, the fight ensues. I think he gets his ass whooped. Doesn't he end up in jail with the Joker or something?
Mm-hmm. You want to talk about fucking Terminator? This was fucking Terminator in this issue. This was nonstop action from start to finish. With Jorge Jimenez fucking choreographing all the fight scenes of this guy chasing him down, the failsafe, now that he's actually got Zur-En-Arrh actually controlling him now inside of him. This was fantastic. This is fucking Robert Patrick chasing down the fucking Terminator for T2. Honestly, in this scene where he like jumps on the fucking car, I flew through this issue because it was so action packed, and like the way the pacing of it was just I thought it was a nonstop thrill ride, this issue. And then even the backup I thought was interesting too, kind of letting you into the mind of what's going on with him conversing with the other Batman, saying like this is what we should be fucking taking over this whole situation, right? Like this Zur-En-Arrh kind of situation where he's just like, they're like, well, if you think this is bad, like, aren't you afraid that one of us is gonna fucking take over because we're also Batman? And he's like, well, it would be for the best because then you're the better Batman. Like, I'm just like I love all this shit right now that's happening. Honestly, this is so fucking good, man. I was like, yes, after I read this book this week. Yes. Oh man, I don't know, man. I'm hyped for the future of this book this year. I really am. And then it ends with the Joker. Come on. Like, it's excellent stuff, man. I know you're not a fan of the Zur-En-Arrh, but everything else, come on. It's
good stuff.
Yeah, it really is. It really is here. But this is the backup here after the Joker story. He ends up in prison with him after getting fucked up. But yeah, this is him kind of in the mind again, talking to the other Batman. He talks to Batman Beyond, and he got the Adam
Are these all like the Zur-En-Arrhs of those Batmen, like the fail safes that Batman's put in his mind?
I guess
those can't be the real characters.
Yeah, I guess so. Because now that he's in the mind, like, of this of the actual failsafe, I'm guessing that's the case.
Yeah,
it's in his subconscious, right? But I just wanted to say that about that. I'm looking forward to this year because after I finished this one, I was just like, yeah, okay. I think with this issue, I'm really now, because the last couple I'm like, okay, it's getting good again. I feel like after that fucking Gotham War and that last one where he went back in time, or we were kind of down after the failsafe arc 2023. But this was a strong debut for the year. What'd you give this?
No, I give this a 4 easy. I know I'm probably gonna give it more, but like I say,
first 5 of the year, guys. 5 out of 5. 5 out of fucking 5. No, I kid you not. I honestly felt that great reading this issue. Like, I think it was the best thing ever that came out this week. It's not my favorite of the week, though, possibly. We'll see. It's a strong week. All right, guys. Next up, we got Birds of Prey number 5.
Birds of Prey number 5. I think I got a variant cover for that too.
Nice.
Thought it'd be a fancier one. I kind of bought this cover blind if I can freaking find it. There it is. Is this Chris Barchala?
Bachalo.
Bachalo?
Yeah, that's like the same artist that did your first cover.
Yeah. Well, I thought there'd be more there, but it's still a nice, a nice simple image, let's say.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think there's a new artist in this one.
I didn't dig it. It is a new artist, and
I know I dig the art though, but the story itself is. I think maybe the bad art was was making the story look better than it was. Then you could put good art in it, and the story seems to dip. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, or maybe it's just the part of the story where it's in.
Let me say something about the art. The art itself the style isn't bad. It's just this is like a cover artist that's doing interiors. I feel like if you look at any of these actual like more dynamic pages where it's like splash pages, like there's good images there. It's a good artist, like the style, but I just don't think that they are used to doing interior, like some of the like the movement of the character, like it looked very static, still image, like images. Like it wasn't very
trying to draw covers in every panel, not so much.
Yes, that's what I mean. I'm not against the artist or the style so much as I am about like I feels like they took a cover artist and got them to do interior work, and I don't think they have much experience doing like sequential pages, like I don't know, they look very stiff, a lot of these illustrations. But go ahead, sorry.
Well, I don't know, that reminds me, I don't know if you ever read Siren's Gate. That something came out a while ago, and basically I think it was the same thing. It was like a cover artist that does these great covers, and basically the whole issue was almost just covers, and they're trying to put stories together to it, and it just doesn't, I don't know if it takes away from the story or the story doesn't seem as good. But I got that feeling here. But I'm still digging this Birds of Prey storyline. I hope this is just another. I hope it's another freaking miniseries, and they're not going to stretch this out into a regular series. But I like all the characters, so I got nothing really bad to say about it.
No, I'm pretty sure this is an ongoing series, Chris.
Oh fuck! Killing me here.
This is really fucking good still, though. This is another
book. Good, but come on. I picked this up for maybe 6-10 issues of Birds of Prey, and then I'll be over with it. Not just buying the first arc and then see where it goes from here.
I'm okay with it continuing past that. I've been enjoying this book.
I've been enjoying it too, but I've been enjoying when it's over. Give it a break and then freaking have Birds of Prey tour again. Put 6-issue arcs out for the year. It doesn't have to be out there all the time.
But then the new thing was that Dina, they got her sister, but then they got like absorbed by this, like, I don't know, this plant elemental creature or whatever the fuck it is on this island. And then, it basically says like, it's over for you. I've got control of you now. Like, it's too late. You're screwed. You're already inside of me. And then Dina's like, he's like, really? Like, do you not know what my powers are? So at the end, she basically busts out like a sonic scream, which is, it looks like it's going to get her out of, get them out of this jam that they got stuck in during this particular issue. But yeah, I'm still really enjoying this book. I know I mentioned it. It was in the running for my best new promising series that has come out at the end of the year. But I think that went to Transformers. But this was still, I don't know if I gave this an award in our award show, but it like, if this year continues to be as good as it has been, I probably will make my list next year. Honestly, like I am really enjoying this story. It looks like next issue the other artist comes back too, which I'm happy about. I just don't think as a regular ongoing series artist this person should be continuing to do the book. But anyways, what'd you give this though, Chris?
I'll just give it a 3.5.
Same, because of the art, or else I may have given it more. But next up, Chris, you got Venom 29.
Oof, here we go. So this is back to Al Ewing.
This looks sick, by the way. I didn't read it, but the art looks pretty fucking crazy for this. And I got a question for you by the end of what you got to say.
So this is like freaking, I don't know, backwards, freaking storyward. I don't know how even like the cyclical, or I don't even know how to describe the way this story goes. Because basically everybody's Eddie Brock or everybody's Venom. They're all the same person that have ended up in this Garden of Eden at different timelines. And I don't even know how to freaking explain this one, because they all go into some goo, and then there's a venom in there that's this hand, and it turns out to be another venom that they're not expecting. Whew. It's a weird read, let's say that. I think Al Ewing? Yeah, he's stretching everything here, and you really got to follow what's going on to figure out what's happening. I think I don't know which Eddie. One of them makes a deal with Kang there, because Kang's been sort of involved in this. So I don't know. It's interesting to read, but where's this going? And if you're a fan of Venom from the beginning, like, this is so far away from whatever Venom was. And like, I missed all that King in Black stuff. So like, how did he go from that freaking suit that was trying to come over, take over Peter Parker, turn into this?
Well,
I don't know.
my question to you is like, this is at least by looking at the art, like, this is fucking like Star Wars in this issue. Like, he's like lightsabering, like there's like those little robots that are shooting lasers at him, and he's like deflecting it. I was like, what the hell is this? It kind of looked like
basically that whatever the Eddie Brock Venom, he wants to become Meridius, so he goes to Kang, and then so he's living with Kang, or he's like kind of Kang's army, let's say, while Kang is out there conquering worlds. He's using the symbiote army, because Eddie Brock's the leader of the Hive, or controls the Hive. And then that's where, I don't know, it's freaking Eddie World. I don't know what the heck. It's good stuff to read. It's crazy, though. And I don't know how they're going to wrap this up, or where this is going to end, or how this is going to end. But I'm going to still keep on reading it to find out what's going on. I just wish they got rid of all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if this was this story, this may be like the sixth issue of this story, where they're putting in all that filler stuff with the Black Widow getting a suit and all the Dylan Brock stuff. And I don't know, like, that doesn't really need to be part of this story. If this was like a 12-issue story where they can do all this stuff, I think it'd be killer. But then, every once in a while, you gotta move out to the other story for 3 or 4 issues.
Yeah, and then like what you were saying, like when I was putting the art together, like it was almost like a Mobius strip. Like, it kind of kept.
Yeah, that's it. And he turns into, Meridius at the end, that he's trying to kill. He's trying to kill himself the whole time. So and then there's other versions of himself there that are. He's like, oh, there's Bedlam. That was me before I had this whatever awakening or something.
I love that kind of shit, though, and the fact that Kang's involved with it, it kind of like, I might actually finally have to check this out, because like, even like I didn't put up all the pages because I didn't want to even confuse like some of the people like looking at the art here, but like, for instance, they had the same type of panel guys on different pages, but from different perspectives. Like, even this page right here, like, it's the hand, like you see this hand here, and then like going to this page here, you see it from that angle. Now you see it from like you looking from like this way, like head on at the guy. Like, it seemed like his hand, like, I don't know. And then and even these pages, like here, it was like showing them like kind of standing like at different angles on another page, where it's like the same kind of scene. Like, even the way the book ended is the same kind of page that the book started with, which was this. Like, it looked the same, right? It was, but
yeah. It's like, well, this Meridius, everything that's happened has happened already to him. Like, he's like the end game, let's say.
Right.
But when he's like freaking whatever, tossing Eddie Brock around in the beginning of this, or he knows that Eddie Brock is going to have these epiphanies all the way through and become him. So he has to do what he has to do. I don't know. It's all like this freaking Back to the Future sort of stuff. If if he doesn't do it, is this going to happen? Or I don't know if you're questioning, if there's free will involved, or if everything's just fate, or everything's predetermined. Who knows?
Right. What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 3.75, though. I know I'm not selling this very well, but it is still fun to read.
Yeah, no, it looks good. Looks good. Next up, you got Poison Ivy 18. Oh, actually, sorry, Marvel Meow. It looks like first up. Here we go, Marvel Meow. Chris, you read this?
Yeah, I took a read on this. There's some of those crazy covers there that I was thinking of buying. Like, there's that Simba cover where you're holding the cat out, but I don't know. These are all just little short stories, I guess, that come out of Marvel Unlimited. all I can say is I thought the art was great. It's sort of the anime style art.
Mhm.
And like, I don't know why they don't, whoever this artist is, I don't know why they don't have this person on a book doing something. Like there's, we could have her She-Hulk, or I don't know what she's doing, or she,
Well,
whoever it is.
this is like it's basically the same, like I think in tone and maybe even the same artist as the Jeff the Shark Unlimited stuff that they do, right? Like this is
Yeah, but I think once again, Jeff the Shark, that's like almost a comic book strip. Where this one, like these are like four, whatever, maybe 2-3 pages max stories.
Jeff one's
But they're all just put together.
yeah, the Jeff one's kind of similar, honestly. Like
Yeah, same idea. Like I think they just come out maybe monthly, put a 3 or 4 pages a month,
yeah,
and then they put them all together for these issues. And, they're just kind of fun, lighthearted issues where I don't know, a lot of ones where Black Cat she seems to be traveling with a whole bunch of cats, and
sure.
Spider-Man is holding on to them, and I don't know. Anyways, these cats always just get into the mix of all these stories, so it's a fun read. I don't regret not buying it, and if this was like $7 or something, it'd definitely not be worth it. But it's also just fun stuff.
Yeah.
If you like that,
What would you give this?
I'll give it a 3.5.
Okay. And then yeah, finally there you got Poison Ivy 18 here.
Yeah, Poison Ivy here. I just read this one line. I'm still in and out of this one, basically just buying for covers, but I've been following the story here. There's still some zombie or mushroom zombies, I guess, coming to the swamp, being attracted to Poison Ivy herself because she seems to be the mother of these zombies. She figures out some sort of antidote, and then I think she calls up Batman there to try and help her find out what's going on. And Batman's basically like, "What are you calling me for? I got a lot of things going on." She's like, "Look, I got this antidote. This. It's almost like winter is coming. You need to get ready. You got to put down whatever you're doing." And he doesn't take her seriously, and but he does take the antidote with him just in case. There's some good scenes here. I think Solomon Grundy shows up, and I guess they have him talking, I guess the way he does, like where every sentence starts with whatever day he's on. And I think there's even some reference that Solomon Grundy wants to date Poison Ivy or something, and she puts a kibosh on that. And then this Woodrow guy that I thought was kind of finished in one of the previous arcs, he seems to burst out of Poison Ivy because she did kind of consume him.
Yeah.
When I figured, okay, he's been consumed, so he's gone, but basically he's been just regrowing, I guess, inside. Like because the cover there alludes to Poison Ivy getting pregnant or being pregnant, and most of the issue is kind of, oh, my stomach is here, kind of blowing up, and then this explodes out of herself.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what's going on there.
Woodrow, the Floronic Man, Swamp Thing classic character right there. So yeah, that's always cool to see. What'd you give this one then?
I'll give this a 3.5. It's still fun to read, and I'll probably pick up issues here and there.
I was looking at the art at first. I'm like, oh, nice. This is a thick Poison Ivy in this. Then I found out she's like pregnant with some shit inside of her. I was like, oh, never mind. I was like, oh, I like the look of this. Looking thick with 2 C's. All right. Next up, we got, Vengeance of the Moon Knight #1. This is now I've been reading this series in trade. This is basically just the continuation of Jed MacKay's Moon Knight series that he, I guess, had done like, I don't know, 30 issues of or something. And I guess the whole thing was that he died at the end of his run. And I haven't read the most recent trade, which would collect that last storyline. Hasn't come out yet. But I figured I'd check out this relaunch of the series with this new title of The Vengeance of the Moon Knight, which has been a series of a Moon Knight in the past before they've done that header before The Vengeance of the Moon Knight as the title. But yeah, this is, I guess, supposed to be like a different Moon Knight now. It kind of, checks back in on his whole Midnight Mission crew and the fact that them dealing with the aftermath of him getting killed here, but still kind of expecting him possibly to pop up somewhere because fucking Moon Knight has died and come back before. And like this whole thing about him having different avatars that have brought him back is like a part of the character. So even while throughout this, that they're still treating it like an actual death. There's a fun scene where I guess, I don't know if you knew this, Moon Knight, he's Jewish, part Jewish. And of course, if you're going to have a sit and Shiva type moment, like this Jewish thing where they kind of sit in the room there for several days or whatever, and have people come by the house to pay their respects. One of the only other Jewish characters in the Marvel universe, of course, is Ben Grimm the Thing. So I was kind of fun. He shows up with his fucking yarmulke there. He's like, I brought this meal or whatever for you guys, and he comes by and he shows respect. So that was kind of fun seeing him in this. I thought the art was really good. I think this artist was already worked on the main series before, but the actual coloring of it or the inks is very dark and moody throughout this issue, which I think kind of was a good thing for the set the tone on this. And yeah, just to see like the cast of characters in this book was fun. And he's got his whole thing with Tigra, who is part of one of his ex-lovers during the West Coast Avengers days. That's been part of the cast and crew in this book. And this whole time, there's another Avatar and Moon Knight type character in this book that was established from the start of the series by Jed MacKay. Like there's other types of Moon Knight, let's say, like that are like follow different gods, let's say. One's of the night, one's of the day or something. And you think like I just naturally, I assume that was going to be the new Moon Knight, right? And I guess the way they set up this issue, it kind of made you alluded to that. But then by the end, yeah, here's Buddy here. By the end, what ends up happening is after he kind of takes care of some bad guys that show up, it turns out somebody else shows up, and it is probably the actual Moon Knight that just died, like that character, but now he's come back as it looks like an evil fucking version of himself. So I guess hence the vengeance of the Moon Knight is him coming back, and he may not be his happy-go-lucky self anymore. So I don't know what's going to happen there. I guess we'll see next issue. But as a whole, as a start of a new take on the direction on the series, I thought this was pretty well done. The art was good. I'll give this, I'll give this a 4 out of 5. I thought it was a solid issue, actually. For me, that hasn't even read the last arc of the last series, I thought it was a good issue. And then next up, I got Doctor Strange 11, also written by Jed MacKay. This is another book I don't feel like made any of my categories from from the award show that we did. It could have made a running for underrated. This is always a really good, solid title. And again, Jed MacKay kind of weaving in and out of all the Doctor Strange kind of iterations he did from the Clea series and the Death of Doctor Strange into this. This has been really good. And now Clea's got a sister, a baby that her mother like manifested in like the last story arc. And in this issue, they end up taking her to the circus here, or to the Coney Island, the amusement park. Sorry. And it's just like a one and done story of them taking this new girl out on the town that's a sister for Clea, and her mother, it was a demon, I guess, allowed her to take her for the day or whatever. And they're kind of doing the whole parenting thing, it seems like. But they take them out there, and of course, something weird is going on when they go to Coney Island, and it turns out there's these villains. The circus of crime is in town, which is just a funny, wacky kind of comic book. Like, I think these are actual villains that have popped up probably in the book at some point in the past, but I just thought this was a really fun thing. And the girl disappears, like she floats off or something. She's already got magic, I guess, even though she's like young, but she's, she's basically being created, this baby. And she floats off and gets away from Doctor Strange and Clea. And, they're like, we're already fucking up in the babysitting role here. Like, this is why we don't have kids. And she fucks off. And then she runs into this whole circus of crime situation and ends up fucking with them, the baby, right? So they get all tangled up and turned around. And she ends up like foiling whatever plans they have got going on, because Doctor Strange and Clea track them all down finally by the end of this. And, it's hijinks ensue, and they kind of come together with their dog, their bats. And by the end of it, the mother-in-law comes and picks up the kid, and she's like, yeah, you can take her anytime. You guys did good today, even though she didn't know about all this other shit that happened. And next issue looks like it's going to be a one and done kind of look at a day in the life of Bats, the dog, just before that new arc there, Chris, of the New Defenders. I think that they teased.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like it's going to be really good. This was a fun issue, though. I got to give it up to the Jed MacKay for doing a great one and done type of story like this. I had great humor in it, and it was a fun time. I give this a 4 out of 5 as well this week. And then next up, we got Captain America #5. I got this variant here, guys, the Jim Rugg Wolverine 50 years. It's a throwback of the Captain America cover that looks like this by Jack Kirby, but it's all Wolverines, all different versions of him. That's pretty cool. That's the variant one I picked up for that. And oh no, that's Shazam. Hold on, let me bring up Captain America here. If I got it. There we go. Okay, I'll bring this off screen. There we go. Yeah, you know what? I think I said I dropped this because I know, Chris, we were talking about, like, you know, the past events that are happening in this story are maybe not as interesting as the current day events in this. And they did continue the ongoing joke of Captain America walking around with this Doctor Strange doll, as he keeps calling it, even though it's like supposed to be like something that Doctor Strange can talk from, basically, like a, you know, like a magic kind of like artifact of some sort that but it looks like him, like a little version of him. So that whole joke kind of continues into this, and the whole aspect of him fighting, you know, whatever demon he's fighting in this current day storyline. But this past day storyline of him, you know, going up against the Nazis and all the shit going on in New York back in the day is really fucking interesting still. It definitely is still the better of the two stories, but I gotta say, some of the events that happened during the present day stuff in this issue wasn't half bad either. I think this is a really solid issue. I really, really liked this one. And I was just like, I think I have one more issue pre-ordered, and I probably will stick to my guns and cancel it from my list and maybe just pick up the trades. But this is still a good series. I think I acted a little bit too quick as I was trying to kind of clear the decks for some of the great things that are going to be coming out in 2024 that have been solicited so far. This is still a good Captain America series. So I'm probably still going to read this online if I don't pick up the physical issues, because it's still solid in my opinion. I give this a 3.75 out of 5, but it gave me faith in the you know, the future of this book, let's say. And then finally I got Thanos #2 here, which I feel like the first issue came out like 2 months ago. I don't know what the hell the fucking delay was on this one. But anyways, you know, not too much to say on this. This was better than the first issue. It was confirmed in this issue, Chris, that girl in Oklahoma or Fresno, wherever they are, was death. In like they were hiding her on Earth, and she was a form of death, and that's why Thanos, of course, had come for her, which I wasn't really sure in the first issue if that was the case or not. I really liked a lot of the moments in this issue. This miniseries problem, by the way, and it's 4 issues oversized, is pacing. I guess this is going to happen with some of these miniseries now. Fucking Marvel is starting to do 4-issue miniseries instead of 5 or 6-issue miniseries. They crammed a whole hell of a lot in this second issue, where there was barely anything in the fucking first issue, which made me jump ship entirely off of this series. Whereas in this one, there was a lot of good moments, but they really just didn't give you any time to enjoy any of them, because they were like literally moving at a mile a minute here and into the next thing, into the next thing, and the next thing. And the pacing has just been off on this fucking miniseries. I mean, it was cool. You got a Hulk Thanos fight in this, which is always fun. And there's a fucking moment where Thanos jumps into like a car and he starts driving around. There's some weird fucking wacky shit going on in this miniseries. And like by the end of it, though, he goes and like after he morphs into this fucking like pickup truck, he like goes and picks up Death. And he's like, Lady Death, I got you back. And she's like, what the fuck is going on? She doesn't know what's happening. It's a weird fucking series, Chris. You know, it wasn't half bad, but I still got to give it only a 3.5 because the pacing is weird on this series. Like, I don't know if it would be better as a whole. The first issue barely gave you anything, and this one, they fucking brought out everything. It seems like two months later. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna. I haven't pre-ordered any more issues, but we might see. I might have
to read this one. Then it sounds good.
You might have to check it out. I am gonna read the rest of it now based off this issue. I will say that, but there's some wacky shit going on, man. It's pretty fun. I will say that much. And then you got Shazam #7, Chris. Let me bring up the art here. You may need a reminder on this.
Yeah, one. I think I did read this.
Hold on here. I just gotta find which
Maybe I didn't.
slide.
The dinosaurs, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah. And the Bizarro Shazam.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was brutal. I know. I love you. Come on, with the Bizarro Shazam, he doesn't realize.
That was stupid. That was stupid. But the rest of it was good, I think, other than the Bizarro Shazam.
And that just makes me realize how dumb freaking Bizarro Superman is. If
Yeah.
Superman is strong, shouldn't Bizarro be weak then? Like, exactly what was going on here? Like, they should have done this with this Bizarro Shazam, because now it just broke the regular Bizarro. And then that just killed it for me here. And then we have those dinosaurs still floating around looking for their buddy that's out in the whatever, in the rock there, cleaning up something. And they're just trying to get all their paperwork done. It's kind of fun, I guess, but
Chris, they show up like the red shirts, like the Star Trek fucking dinosaurs. Like, what's going on there?
if I was a fan of this, maybe I'd be enjoying this more. But like Shazam, it's a good character, but then I don't know. Even bring Black Adam in here, you think this would be something, but it was just more of a
Chris,
red herring or something. Like nothing really happened.
Chris, you didn't
Well,
feel.
And then they destroy his house at the end. He's like, "Oh,
you didn't feel for his family. You were like, well, we're just gonna have enough to buy this new house, guys, because we're gonna sell our old house." And then as they're fighting, like, no, the house.
Yeah, but while they're fighting, like they're trying to kill each other, he says, "Stop, stop, stop! My house." If you're engaged in Mortal Kombat, there's no quarter given or no quarter asked. You don't stop because your freaking house just got trashed. You shouldn't be fighting that hard to begin with.
This is honestly the word we talk about again is like a combination of really stupid and really silly stuff, but I kind of like the silliness of this book. Like, I'm not gonna say it's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Also, Dan Moore didn't draw this issue. There's another artist that drew this issue, so it didn't look as good as it normally did. But like, there was some funny shit in this still for me. Like, I like the dinosaur stuff.
Maybe I'm getting sucked into all these like the movie style of the DCU kind of depictions of these characters. You expect them to be more like I don't expect Black Adam to be nonchalant or kind of silly. Let's say I've seen him in that whatever that end of the Justice League where I thought I really liked him there.
Right.
And here, you just kind of get more of a silly Black Adam, and you can't have a silly Black Adam. Plus, even with that Thanos, you can't have a silly Thanos. Like, I knew Thanos was silly before, but then with Endgame, with the movie, he was such a serious, like, overpowering character. You think that's what he is, and that's why it's good to hear Thanos is back there. Just trying to pick up Lady Death and go, "Hey, baby, I love you."
That's what I mean. I sold you on that one. It really just depends what you're in the mood for, right? Yeah. Because that one, I will say I enjoyed that more than I like the Shazam, but there was some funny shit in the Shazam one too. I don't know. The red shirt fucking Star Trek dinosaurs just threw me off. When you're like, this paperwork. It's like, oh my God, does that mean you're going to kill them? No, there's just a lot more paperwork. I then, like you said, like, they're like, no, my house, after like fighting for fucking 10 minutes.
Like, damn insurance, they can still buy the best thing happened is that freaking house got trashed. Insurance is going to cover anything more that they cost. They can go get their freaking new house, lickety split, problem solved.
Oh man, yeah. So I don't know. There's some funny moments for me in this. What'd you give this?
I give it a 3.5.
3.75 for me. All right, Fantastic 415, Chris.
Yeah, I just read this one online. I enjoyed the last issue. There's some big AI, kind of tone going on here. And at the end of the last issue is the Baxter building was supposed to show up, and the big reveal was that it didn't. And here, this continues on from that story. The Baxter building doesn't show up. And reading, everybody's like, "What the heck's going on?" And then you find out that that's AI that they supposedly destroyed in the last issue survived, and it's kind of held the Baxter building hostage. Just because it seems that the Fantastic Four is an enemy, and then as this AI is sort of doing whatever it does, I don't even know what it's trying to do, but I guess the more people that log on to this thing, they get free gems, and that's how the AI is communicating with the Fantastic Four. The AI is kind of just getting smarter and smarter all the way through, and then it's revealed that there's somebody still, the bad guy from the last issue. He has still something, his hooks into this AI, and I think he's the one that ends up killing it as the AI gets sentient. I don't know. it realizes that the Fantastic Four aren't enemies, but then it starts to die, and then Reed is trying to help the AI, and at the end, the AI releases the Baxter building, so it reappears, and there's all this happiness. But the big kind of end of the issue thought is that as the AI was dying, it was reaching out into the universe to try and find help, and perhaps somebody might have answered, and then they were concerned as to when this message of help went out, or whether while it was dying or while it was growing. If it was growing, it's hey, this is a great thing, I'm just looking for friends, or as it's dying, it's I need help, I'm being attacked, and who knows what it could bring to the earth. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it was interesting. Some interesting stuff that they're laying the groundwork for in this, and I mean, the kids do come back in this all safe and sound, so it really hit.
Yeah, and that's almost secondary to the story. Like, I thought the big deal was them coming back and all that sort of stuff. So,
but that's why I mean, like, I think he handled it well to where the point where it really didn't have any impact on the story whatsoever at this point. And while it seemed like a big deal how the series started with that happening, them coming back now, it just seems like they're just going to be put back into the fold of the ongoing events of the book. And I don't even think the main focus is going to be on them, honestly.
Yeah, so maybe something will spill out from the time that they were away, but it seems like it just felt like a flash in the pan to them.
Yeah. Yeah, this book has been growing on me. I know it took a while for it to click, but it is a smartly written book. And I think, like, for a Fantastic Four book, he's got the tone right. I think this writer for this series, it definitely has thrown me off because, like, it was a weird approach to kind of do what he's doing more with these one and done or 2-issue type stories with like these Twilight Zone-esque type science fucking mystery type shit that he started doing with this series. And I guess it was so different and unexpected that I didn't gel with it at first. Really, I really couldn't get a really good handle on what he was going for with this. But yeah, it's entirely unique and of its own, I think, and different than I think like any other Fantastic Four stuff I've read. Which I think some people would argue, from what I've been hearing, this has been critically acclaimed, and I think most people would agree that this is what a Fantastic Four book should be, right? In that sense, the tone, at least, of it. Still not my favorite, but I do appreciate it now, I think, and I'll continue reading it online at this point. So, yeah, it's good stuff. What'd you give this?
Yeah, I'll still give it a 3.5. I think they're just spinning their wheels here.
This wasn't my favorite issue either, though. I'll give it also a 3.5. But yeah, I was just more of my overall thoughts of the series because I've
like I say, I think they might have a plan for a big event down the road. They're just waiting for the right time to put it out, and they just got some. Hey, buddy, we need you to take Fantastic Four for a ride. Nothing fancy, nothing special. We don't want any lore changing revelations. We just need you to write some Fantastic Four stories.
All right, almost done here. Marvel Zombies, Black, White, and Blood #4, Chris. Bring this up here.
Yeah, I remember reading this, and I thought the stories were decent, I thought.
Good issue. Yeah, this first one especially, very good, I thought. This
was a good Blade, right?
Yeah. This was a good one.
Yeah, and Blade has like almost a sanctuary, let's say. Mm-hmm. And the sanctuary is run by vampires. And then he's bringing in people, and the people feed the vampires in exchange for safety, I guess. So,
and then the whole twist at the end was like, you're like, oh, how the fuck could Blade be working with the vampires? And he's like, I'm just gonna wait for us to level the playing field back out again, and then I'm gonna take all these fuckers out. Right? I'm just like, excellent. And this was written and drawn by Steve Scroce, who I'm a big fan of. He's the one that actually did the Clobbering Time miniseries this past year. He's the one that wrote and drew this story in this one. So this was the highlight for me. But I think this is the next couple we're going to talk about too. There's some good stuff here still, but this was, I think, my favorite of this issue. There's some I really liked this one for sure. But I think the next one, Punisher story. I think the one in the middle here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this was a Punisher one. This was okay. This one.
Yeah. This is like a Frank Castle Punisher, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's always good seeing him because you don't see him around anymore, it seems.
Yeah.
And I forget how this one plays out, but yeah, I didn't mind this story, I think.
And then
they're trying to get into somewhere.
Mm-hmm. This last one too, I thought was really strong too. This one, the Savage Land one, that was pretty interesting too, I thought.
Oh yeah, with the mother and then the kid. Well, anyways, Khazar, I guess, gets sucked in there. It's a good it's good to bring it back to the Savage Land as it was, not as a place where you're gonna let's bring the Avengers to the Savage Land. Like I remember when you're reading some of these Savage Land stories when it was just Khazar was just supposed to be Tarzan or something, you know what I mean? And like Savage Land was just its own place.
Yeah.
That's what this reminded me of it. You got the twist in there with I forget what his wife's name is, but she survives and then she's trying to save her son, and then at the end, the son is coming after. So that's always the twist.
What would you give that one?
Out of the ones I've read, I'd give this a 3.75 compared to
Same.
the other ones.
Yep. And then finally here for the first week of January, January 3rd, we got Amazing Spider-Man number 41, continuing the gang war here, and drawn by our least favorite artist last year, according to the Comic Shop Talk Awards, John Romita Jr. I got to hear what Chris says about this because it was his favorite comic artist of last year, if I'm not mistaken. No, it wasn't. Go ahead, Chris. What did you think of this?
Well, I think J.R. freaking took his time with this comic, though. But this one, I think the characters in this comic appeal to his style, let's say, except for She-Hulk. He should have found some reason to put a bag over She-Hulk's head. And then I think everything would have been fine.
No, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I do. And
well, he draws like Kingpin isn't a regular looking face, and he doesn't draw Kingpin as a regular looking person. And then, whatever, Tombstone, who knows what Tombstone's really supposed to look like? Because I've only seen JR draw him. And, he just looks, if that's what you're going to look like, that's what you look like. But as for everything that goes on in here,
yeah,
this issue was a banger. Everything's happening in here.
I agree. I was gonna say, did you like this opening joke where fucking what's her name is she's like flirting with one of them and they don't know.
They could have got rid of that, but I guess it plays out later on. But it's
the Typhoid Mary thing.
Just because what's going on with Typhoid. I imagine she's back from whatever happened after the Hellfire Gala.
Yeah.
And I guess she's supposed to be a bit of a crazy or unhinged character. So I guess they're playing into that where in the Hellfire, she just seemed to be like a normal, sane person, when she was living at Krakoa. She was just enjoying life on the beach with Kingpin as her husband. So I thought all that sort of stuff was past her, and now she was normal. But I guess once you get into the fray, and she just goes, maybe that's her coping mechanism, let's say. But it was a fun little joke. But the battle between Kingpin and Tombstone, that's freaking great. They're just freaking bashing heads against each other. And why he's doing that, it's reasonable. The stuff with Madame Mask, and does he throw her father out the window or something here?
Yeah.
It's okay. And the Beetle, or what's her name? Is it the Beetle that's Tombstone's daughter?
Yeah.
She's up to something there. I guess they have the Hellfire troops in there. I don't know how the Hellfire Club's going to feel about Kingpin using their, but I guess he's the Black King or something, or the White King, isn't he?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Well, he can do whatever he wants with these Hellfire troops.
Yeah,
so
he's the new Sebastian Shaw, essentially, of the Hellfire Club.
Yeah. Well, I guess he's got the sway to do it. So I thought this was a great issue. I hope this gang war doesn't last too long, but hey, what can you do? You got some heavyweights going at it.
I agree with you. I'm having a lot of fun with this, and I think you're right. Like the issue is more set up for the JR sensibilities in terms of his style being it is.
Yeah, even all the henchmen, they all got masks on. Wherever he goes to, whichever group has their minions, are all freaking. They're all like wearing a uniform. It's not like he's got to draw, a gang of street thugs all wearing different clothes.
Yeah, it's not like I really liked this issue. I'm having a lot of fun with it as well. So I'm glad you liked it too. Yeah, I agree. Banger of an issue for sure. What'd you give this out of 5?
I can't throw it too high though, but I'll definitely give it a 4.
4 as well for me. Yeah, there you go. All right, guys, there's a bit of a longer episode this week, I know, but like I said, we covered about 2 weeks worth of comics. There's a lot of good stuff here. But before we reveal what is our favorite book of the week, the first week of January, let's talk about what we were reading next week here, Chris, if you got that ready.
Yeah, I do. It looks like it's a lighter week though for me. I think that's Rise of Power of X. Looking forward to that. Ultimate Spider-Man #1. Looking forward to that. I've read some previews there. You know, I think Peter Parker doesn't even have his powers yet in this one.
Good. Looks good. Yeah.
Wolverine 41 started the Sabretooth War. What else do you have? Action Comics. I don't know if I'm still getting it. I don't think I ordered it, but they give it to me anyways, which I don't mind. I've got the Sacrificer 6 and Transformers 4. That's it. So 6 comics. We'll see. And there's a bunch I'll probably read online.
Same. Yeah, this is a smaller week for me as well. But I got to tell you, this is a banger-filled week as far as I'm concerned. Because, yeah, I got Action Comics. That's the start of Jason Aaron's little small arc on the series. Fish Flies #4 comes out next week. You got Kea #14, Rise of the Powers of X, Sacrificers 6, Transformers 4, Ultimate Spider-Man 1, and also first issue of a 4-issue miniseries by Sean Murphy. We got him doing a Zorro miniseries that he's self-publishing there from it's coming out from Massive Publishing, I think is the imprint, but which is I think an imprint of that Whatnot thing, that like online fucking type shit. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that just because it's Sean Murphy. I'm not so much a Zorro guy, but I like his art. So there you go.
He can put a good twist on characters, that's for sure.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. So yeah, great week coming up, guys. And so tune in to hear us talk about that one. But Chris, favorite book of this week, the first week of and I'm gonna write it down this time so I don't have to go searching. I'm writing it down this year, guys, so it's not as hard.
Don't lose that paper.
Yeah, exactly. So go ahead, Chris. What's your first pick of the year?
I don't know. It's I think Spider-Man could be in the running.
Yeah.
But I'm giving it to freaking Fall of the House of X. I don't care. That cover, the story in there is great. And that stupid smirk, which I hate. I seem to like it the more I think about it, and I hate it the more. The more I hate it, the more I like it.
Well, I got to say, out of the 2 weeks that we discussed, that's a good pick. Out of the 2 weeks we discussed here on this episode, this is definitely the stronger of the week, the first week of the year.
Oh, definitely.
You know, things that were in the running for sure. Amazing Spider-Man. Doctor Strange this week I thought was a really good standout, as well as Fall of the House of X. But it should come as no surprise, it's got to be Batman for me. Batman 141, which is my favorite of the week, just because I had the most fun reading this book this week. And yeah, I had to throw out the 5 for that one because it was just nonstop fucking action, that issue with Jorge Jimenez art. And I'm really hopeful about this year of Batman, honestly, with the Batman, with the Joker year 1. And I noticed the fact that, issue 141, we're going to get an issue 150 this year, which is usually like a great milestone fucking issue type deal whenever they get to like, the 50.
It should be like this comes out bi-weekly, right? Batman?
No, I think it's monthly. Yeah, it's monthly stuff.
Okay, yeah, so you still should be getting out somewhere in the summer and in the fall even.
Yeah.
Should be a big one.
So there you go, guys. That's going to do it for our first episode of the year here of Comic Shop Talk. We'll see you guys back here once again next week. Chris, thank you as always, and hope everybody's doing well out there. And we'll see you next episode. Thanks, guys.
All right. Cheers.
Later.